So, hi Alhanis, and welcome to the show. So, you were you're a native of Washington Heights, right?
I would say yes.
Were
Been here
you
most of my life.
were you born and raised there?
Uh, yes and no. I was born here in Manhattan, yes, but I was raised in DR, like going back and forth between New York and DR. At a young age, like for like vacation, I used to go over here. I used to go to DR, and then for school wise, I stay here. So I would say yes. I was pretty much raised here.
That's cool. Where did you go to school in Manhattan? In like elementary and middle school?
Okay, so elementary school, I actually went to two different public schools. One was PS 115, which is like near Highbridge. I was only there for 2 years, and then I was transferred to PS 173, which is around like 3 blocks from where I live. It's pretty short. And so the first school, it was a bilingual school. So one day was English, the next day was Spanish, and that wasn't working out. So then I went to PM 73, and I stayed there. For middle school, I moved up to Dykeman, and that was my middle school, just 3 years. It was great. And then high school, like this is where I met you, which is Hudson High School Learning Technology down at 14th Street. And yeah,
That's cool. And where do you go now?
and right now I'm a student at Lehman College, which is up in the Bronx, and this is my third year. Uh, really strange year since everything that's happening now, as you guys already know. But yeah, I'm probably not gonna transfer. I really love it over there, and it's pretty dope. I like it.
What do you study there?
I study computer science. I'm aiming towards like software engineering, and I just hope everything goes well.
Right on. Keep it up.
Yeah, trying.
So, growing up in the Heights, do kids usually hang out in the streets and stuff and kind of wander in the streets in their free
Um,
time?
it's funny because my family is kind of like overprotective in a way, like they don't want me to be one like on the streets for too long. So like elementary school, my mom used to like first for the when I was in PS 115, my mom used to take me over there to the elementary school. She used to walk me. I think that happens like most kids, obviously. And then when I moved into 173, that I just walked by myself because it was so close. And my like social interaction wasn't that much. I used to just go home right after school ended, and yeah, that was as much it from elementary school. However, middle school it kind of changed. I was more socially active with like meeting people and having friends and stuff, and also friends that lived near me. So we took the train together, and that made me want more to be like involved in other people's life and be more socially active outside of my own family. And so one thing we should do is take the train to our stop, which is right near where I live, and we should just stay there a whole hour just to talk and conversate for no reason. It was just just talk, and that grew on even more as I grew older, especially in high school. But besides that, I never really like just took a walk around the block, or like I feel like this community here has always like been like quiet in terms of like danger or anything suspicious. It's very peaceful.
And so that's kind of for everyone, or would you say, yeah, so would you say your experience is kind of representative of like other kids?
I say represented for the most part because I'm talking about a family that's very protective of the outside world. So it's not like they know. It's not like they know that I did that like every single day. Talk for a whole hour with my friends and then go home. They thought that I was either like the train ride was just taking long or whatever. It wasn't. It didn't cross their mind to ask them like, oh, like what took so long or etc. Um, but in a way, I am representative because it was something I wasn't the only one doing it, and for most people that live around here, they either did it more extreme, and by extreme I don't mean like by extreme I mean just like they spent more time with others, socializing and spending time with them. So in a way, I am representative as well as also representative towards the families that don't allow their kids to be outside as much, on their own free will.
That's great. And would you say there was kind of a lot of fighting between kids growing up? The reason I'm asking is that um, we were reading this book about Puerto Rican kids in the 40s, and they had some, they basically had almost like clan warfare between kids. So, like, Puerto Rican kids, they fought Italian kids and whatnot. And yeah, so I was wondering if that sort of culture kind of survived to this day.
Okay. Um, I would say growing up, the only like fighting there was between family members, like between my cousin and all. And most kids that grow up in DR are just typically delinquents as a kid. Obviously, they mature as they get like around 15, like around before 20s. That's when they're considered an adult. Um, and so like growing up, it kind of have like a rush lifestyle into maturity at a very early age. So they're delinquent, like, they're rational, active, and just bashfulness shows at early ages. So that's when all the fighting comes around, and their, rebellious ages are just very young. And, but I do have to say that those kids um do show here in, like, in United States, but not as, I would say as frequent, but not as easily shown as you would see in, like, in the islands and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say it's just like towards against like another race. It just kind of like, they get just flare off pretty easily.
I see. That's cool. And so Washington Heights, it's like known for its Dominican community, right? And um, are most of the people like first and second generation, you'd say?
Um, as of recently, there actually has been more diverse in the culture of like what kind of race are here. For example, one of my closest friends that lives near me is his family's Ecuadorian, and and then like, so there's a bus station, and well, I live right next to the George Washington Bridge, and there's a bus station there. And beyond that is actually a community full of just white people and Asians, and that side is basically being gentrified. And I was only recently where I actually got to explore that area beyond up the hills, and it was just, I haven't seen that side my entire life. Past where I live, that's the place where I live, it's mostly just Latinos and some Asians as well. And I'm sorry, what was the second question?
About like generations of
Oh
immigrants?
yeah.
Yeah,
So that is very dominant here. In the Heights, they pretty much, it's kind of like a good area that was found for them to be living here. Like, my uncle was the first generation here, and my brother, he was also the first generation to graduate or go attend college and pass college. And my best friend was also part of the first generation, and etc. It's just something you just see and like you hear really really frequent, especially while growing up. The closer you get either to finishing high school or in college, you hear a lot about like these Latinos that just are part of like either first or second generation. Those are the two main important ones, first and second.
and you're Dominican yourself, right? And how often do you visit DR?
I am Dominican, as a fact, and so as of recently, it actually has been about 5 years since I visit, and the reason for that is because I've been mostly focused on trying to enjoy a summer here. Because, like I said before, I used to travel back and forth between DR and New York. the time I traveled to DR was during my vacation time, which is like winter or summer, and that would take my entire summer break. And as a kid, I obviously you wouldn't care much about it, and you would enjoy the summer break. But as I grew older, I knew that this wasn't gonna last for forever. Like my relationship with my cousins, how we used to just fool around no matter what. And once that realization started coming reality, I started to enjoy less of going to the yard because it was like more maturity, more seriousness, more boring. It was a little to myself. And with that said, I just wanted to just enjoy the summer in New York for once. And it's been a while since I've been over there, and obviously I long for it, especially to visit my family. I miss them so much, and they also want to see me as well. And I want to see like their growth and like how the area is. And there's a lot that changed from the last time I went there. But yeah.
See a lot of kids who kind of partly grew up in DR but then moved to the States, right? So how do you say they changed once they moved to the United States?
Um, I could say that they either have like they either kept themselves the same. Okay, so there was a good example to say is in my elementary school. I'm also part of that change that I also went to school in DR first. I went there for like less than a year. I don't remember exactly, but I know I went to school over there, and I didn't like the school system over there. I wanted to know more about the outside world, so then I started going to school here. Now fast forward to elementary school when I was in PS 173. Um, I actually became more like timid and more like reserved in terms of how I represent myself and how I approach people because I knew in my head that this is not like DR. I can't just go talking to everyone like they're my cousins and stuff like that. And with that said, there was also another transfer student that came in, I think during the fourth or fifth grade, and he was very Dominican himself. He actually lived in the same building as me. And with that said, he was a kind of that foreign kid. He didn't know much English and stuff like that. So I tried to help him out as much as I can, et cetera, et cetera. And it showed and he was still acting like he was in like a DR kind of ass, like he was in his household. Not saying that he would disrespect me or be in delinquent, but he would just touch or explain. But it wasn't the same change that happened to me. The same change that I was realizing that this is not the place that I'm used to. This is not I had to show some type of way. Had to be some type of person, or at least be like behave. Behavior is the word I was trying to look for the past 10 minutes.
Would you say it's sort of like assimilation into the new society?
I would say yes. Is you say intimidation, right? Yeah, I will say intimidation towards
Assimilation,
like
sorry.
assimilation. I would say yes, but that's only an example between me and him, and it's kind of like it's not something you just start seeing among others that you grow up with. You just live your life for at least for us, we just live life without observing others in this type of way. But I would have to agree overall.
Would you have any examples of like maybe some things you did in DR that you do here more rarely or you don't do at all? Or maybe some mindset change that you had? I know you were young, but
No, no.
yeah.
I actually have a good memory. I don't know why. I'm not trying to like flex or anything like that, but like I actually got a good memory, and I always reflect back on this. And there was one time when I was like reflecting back as to why I behaved like this in New York, and why I behaved like that when I was in DR. And for example, I used to have a short temper, and it was shown very easily when I was in DR growing up over there. And and then while I was here in New York, I never really got upset unless I was in my household or I was in the yard. Those are the two only settings where I actually got upset, or at least easily express my feelings towards the rest. Um, but while I was in school, my behavior just totally changed. Like I said earlier, it's something about like understanding where you are and where you like to a new setting that basically others are accustomed already because they grew up here, compared to being grow up in a Dominican household or just a Latino household, while also being free willed in an island as a vacation. But I feel like it does that doesn't come across for all of us, and there's the main topic of what I'm saying is like there's a behavior, your behavior will change no matter what.
Yeah, I think my behavior changed as well when I moved here.
Really, what kind of way would you say?
Well, I was definitely more on the loose over there.
Right. It was like no bounds.
Well, but I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it could be correlated with just getting older, but
Right.
back
That I
there,
had
I was a lot more physical, and I would
right.
like bully people sometimes. And
Uh,
here, I did none of that at all.
right. And it's hard to like actually explain the reason why we do such thing over there compared to here. Um, is it's there's only so many things I can explain it, but as of right now, we know that there is a change, or something could happen to us here.
Yep. So let's kind of segue into like Dominican culture.
Right.
And so, what are some popular Dominican foods, like
Pop
dishes?
mango. I actually stuck with the name because I just eat it. I never asked my mom what's the name of this. But basically anything to do with like seafood, anything mixed with seafood, meat, obviously that's a must. Beans and rice. Those are simply are all a must when it comes to like the dishes. But I will say one thing, and this will never change in my opinion. Nothing will be better than a Latino rice. That is definitely 100% true.
You mean like well seasoned, right?
Well seasoned, like even this, it's just the taste itself. There's nothing that will be better than Latino rice.
For sure. It's great. I love it. I mean, I don't have a great sample size, but all of the ones I ate were great.
Right.
So,
I actually when I was in when school was still open before quarantine, I there's this friend that he's part of the volleyball team, and I met him like basically this semester ago, and we all close, and he won his team won, and I was like, yo, let's go to this place we could eat. It's a Dominican restaurant, and he hasn't gone there. He transferred to Lehman, and I also showed the other friends that haven't been there too. They loved it. They loved the place. They just oh my, it was a great experience, especially seeing them enjoy the food. Like obviously they ate the Dominican food before, but it's been a while for them. Um, one of them is Mexican, the other one is black, and the other one is where he's from. Or the other one is Asian. So I got to like reveal more of the culture that I've been living in, and it's and like around the like Lehman area is mostly just fast food areas or and like other restaurants.
what is the place called?
It's just a regular restaurant. The like a Latin restaurant is called Caridad. I don't remember exactly the name. They usually have like a extra title for them to separate them from the other Caridad. But yeah, if you know a restaurant called
Where is it?
Caridad, then it's right next to Lehman, which is like Kingsbridge. Yeah, it's right next to like Kingsbridge. It was like right next to a subway, which right next to another fast food area.
Thanks, I'll check it out.
Hey,
And what is like some Dominican music and arts in general, you'd say?
Dominican music like Aventura, Romeo Santos, Osuna, etc., etc. Anything that has like merengue, bachata. I think merengue and bachata are the two core Dominican music that we all play. especially merengue. I think my family really loves that. And as well as when it comes to terms to music, one thing I noticed is like so in DR every weekend is basically a party. At least either Saturday or Sunday they always throw a party over there. That's for everyone to enjoy themselves and just dance. And one thing I noticed that every year that I went over there, the music has yet to change. They usually play the same music, the same track, the same person, the same artist. So what's up? ¿Por qué no va a cambiar la caja esa del internet? Ahorita diciendo algo, amigo. No, cuando fuera. Okay. Ahorita se está fallando mucho. Sí, yo no sé por qué. Seguro está vieja ya. Cuando pueda la puede cambiar. Sí. Okay. I messed up that he was asking about the router because it's kind of getting old, so it's kind of like misfiring. Yeah. So like as I was saying about the music, it's like I want to say it's stale. It's great, and it's definitely something you can never replace. Even, no matter how old the song is or how replayed it is, it's just never stale no matter what.
I think I also know Gente de Zona is the group.
Right. No, you should definitely just dive yourself in more. Just some Dominican music, like you just search out like merengue 2000 mix or like some bachata mix, and just like you will find songs that you will enjoy just naturally. It just makes you feel like you want to physically move and just dance.
For sure. I definitely need some more energy. So, yeah. And what would you say is your kind of average day is like in Washington Heights?
Are we talking about
before
before?
COVID, of course, yeah.
Average day. Well, okay. So I had to keep information of when my family wakes up because that's also important because of my household is only basically a one room studio and we have five family members. So it's just a small household with just so many people and we all live in the same room except for my grandpa. He sleeps outside. Not just like trash on him or anything, but yeah, that's just the situation we live in. And basically, I always have to keep in mind of like everyone's sleep schedule, so I don't want to wake them up and or to like disturb them because I know they work hard and stuff like that to support our family from DR and all that. And so like my morning schedule is either to leave as early as possible so I can be in school because also staying here is just not good for my mentality and you know it's just I need space and room as the more you grow up because I've been here for most of my life, so it's like you know that's something that's very important right now. And so I just wake up, do the morning rituals, you know, look myself in the mirror, brush my teeth, take a shower, etc., etc. Go to school, and I just usually stay over there the whole day. Besides the point that I have late classes, come home, eat, or just sleep, and then rinse and repeat.
And how do you say living in Washington Heights is sort of unique compared to other neighborhoods or parts of the city?
Um, I say that there's a bodega right next to me every single corner. So I love that. I always feel like at home. When they're blasting, you know, the merengue or any kind of song they're playing. I really like how the neighborhood is. It's pretty quiet and, you know, seeing other people of my same skin or same kin is pretty I like that. It has this like friendly vibe into walking around here and yeah, I just always seeing how the culture you grew up with is always something that's something people always like. You know, the familiarity of seeing the things around you is pretty good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty happy with like you know this community that I grew up with and the neighborhood around me.
So the Dominican dialect of Spanish is known for its variety and richness of slang words and its unique vocabulary, so that even like other native speakers of Spanish, they sometimes have a hard time understanding. And I personally, I speak Spanish, but sometimes I just don't understand it. Some slangs and some shortenings. So what would you say are three or five most essential Dominican slang words that one needs to more to understand more fully?
I think I'll say this. It's not about like the slang words that we use. It's more of like what I would say we speak like we're on a timer. We it's like we trying to say as much as we can under like 10 seconds. We just speak too fast, and I also think that when I look back of the way that I speak, in Spanish, in terms of like um our words, we shorten our words. Again, to speak faster and to say as much as we can. Um, but like, besides that, I can only say so much when it comes to the dialect and like language of Spanish because as I'll say this from my own defense as to why I'm not too versed into it. It's because as a kid, as I looked at the other like my cousins and stuff and how they act and how their entertainment was to like harm, not only to harm others, but like to cause trouble, like again delinquents. I didn't want to be associated with them, and so I kind of like sever myself from them and try to learn as least amount of Spanish as I can. But as I grew older, that became that became a mistake. That became something I regret. And like towards high school, I started to like accept myself even more and understand like why did I did that. I really enjoy Spanish, really enjoy where I came from, and the roots of where I was born is something unique and something you can't take. And now that I'm in college and continue trying to develop me more, I wish I never would have done that mistake. That I regretted myself from starting to sever myself from my family. But yeah, back to like the language itself. Um, the only advice I could say is just try to keep up to what they're trying to say.
Well, on a brighter note, I think once you have a little bit of foundation, you can kind of catch up on the language later on as well.
Oh yeah,
And I
I
imagine you
agree.
definitely have a foundation. So,
No, yeah, I've as of recently before COVID, I actually was trying to practice a lot of Spanish. I took two Spanish courses, and that really helped me out even more. Because the problem with me is like if it was words I didn't use on a daily basis, I wouldn't know, or at least like words I didn't practice, I would know it and good for um translating between English and Spanish. That's pretty easy and simple, especially understanding. But because I didn't practice saying the word out loud, I kind of just either stumble upon it before I actually said the word in a good way. And then another thing is like because I severed myself during that time, that caused my accent to just disappear, or at least I wouldn't say disappear, but like come extinct over time.
so I've only visited Washington Heights about three or four times, and I was kind of hanging out there. And for someone who hasn't been there or has been there very little, what would you suggest to visit? What places or maybe restaurants or
Places. I would say to one thing I love doing is like I love people watching. At least when I'm like walking around or like I'm taking the subway, I like to observe people and their interactions. And I'll say going to the park is very important anywhere, like in the Heights, any kind of park, and just observe the families and stuff. Watch like how like what they're doing, and just see how a family is and how they interact with each other. When you just view a Latin family interact with each other, it's like something that's very special or different. Because the most important thing when it comes to Latin is a family, no matter what. That's like one above all. And yeah, I mean, when it comes to restaurants, any Latin restaurant is good. Like, like I said, Caridad, most promising food are there.
I'll also add this might be touristy, but I really enjoyed George Washington Bridge.
The bridge is pretty nice. The bridge is pretty nice. I'll say that.
Yeah, right in the middle of it. It's an awesome view.
Yes, for sure. There's actually a park right next to me called J Hill Park, and when you go, there's a hill you can go up the stairs, and you can see the entire bridge connected to New Jersey.
Yeah. Is that the park that's right under the bridge?
Um, yes and no. actually next to it, but like the park that's under it is it's the Riverside Park, and that's basically goes connected from throughout whole Manhattan, and I'll say you should visit around that area because it's very beautiful from throughout the entire Manhattan. But I walked around there to the heights, and it's pretty amazing.
I'll make sure to visit again
Hey,
once we can. Yeah. And
right,
lastly, you know how in the city ethnic communities move from one neighborhood to another for various reasons.
right.
Like there's like gentrification, or maybe they just move up or whatever. So where do you see the neighborhood going in like 20, 30 years?
20, 30 years. That's a pretty hard question. um, Honestly, it's hard to say because most people say that if you live in the Heights, you're basically Dykeman, and Dykeman is the same thing as Heights, and Dykeman is like 200 and above. And but like I said earlier, like or at least mentioned earlier about the bus station until that upper side towards Upper Hill, I think that's where it's all gentrified and like the white community is living at. I don't know if that's going to continue expanding through here. Another example is there in the bus station. There's actually a mall that was built not too long ago, and throughout my whole childhood before it started to be built, that was just the bus station. There used to be a Blockbuster over there. I won't forget because I still owe them like $8 per month of a game we bought. Don't tell them that, of course. Um, but yeah, now there's a whole mall there, and I know surely but surely over the years this whole place is gonna it's gonna change no matter what. There's also like a black market near Broad Street that's been there since I was a kid, and I don't know if that's gonna change. I don't think that's gonna change because that whole area used to be just a street that cars used to pass when the black market wasn't active. But now they changed the street to where like, hey, we can't like a place where we can sit down and just talk because right next to it is there's a theater, a pretty famous theater, I think. And even after they changed it to like a place to, like for just people to walk through and just talk, the black market is still there and active. So I don't know if it's gonna take even longer than 20 years for it to change, but overall I don't see it changing much.
And where is that market? Is it by the subway?
Yeah, it's about the subway. It's on Broad Street.
I think I might have seen it. It's on 180 something, right?
Yeah, like 180 something. So you're thinking of the 181st.
Yeah.
That's also that area there too. It's not. It's gonna be hard for it to change. That's why I'm talking about the one near 170th. There's also another like black market there too, and it's pretty dope. I always love seeing that.
Wait, I'll add it to my bucket list as well.
It's just your expedition.
Yeah, exploring New York. Yeah, well, that's kind of all the questions I have.
Okay,
So yeah, thanks for the interview.
of course, and thank you for interviewing me. I'm happy to help.
Do you want to plug in your social media or something?
Actually, it's pretty funny you ask. Yeah, I'll say my social media. I'm gonna write it down just on here in the chat, so you can like even say it or like write it for later. Uh, Hold on, because I forgot my at my Instagram. It's you can just search my name Alejandro Batista or Alahenes, or my Twitter, which I mostly use, is Dio Dominicano. You can add me there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll just add it as a caption on top of the video. So if anyone watches this video, just please follow him. He's a dope guy.